Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Paradisepump. And today we have special guest, our Cassel. We trainers here at Iron Fitness. And what's going on, man?
Not much. It's a pleasure. Appreciate you inviting me on. I've been watching the shows and suggested went live. So it's been good topics all around.
Yeah. I do you right? You know, Physique?
I do.
Yeah.
Started my feet in 2017. Moved to Colorado. I had a Marine Corps buddy that he kept asking me, and I just kept it. I'm just saying I didn't want to meet it like that. I went through actually his course, so that kind of pushed me to focus on something. So I jumped into it at age 34. So now the beat sets. I'm up from Colorado at the beat in Indiana. Then did a couple shows there, and then down in Florida did a couple shows there, and now I'm at the Hawaii.
Wait, so you're from
No, so I'm originally from Indiana.
Indiana? Yeah, good.
Yep, country boy from Indiana.
And how long have you been here?
I've been in Hawaii 1 year here now, so I'm here for a year.
You like it?
I do. Population's nice, people are nice. Traffic is, I've been in some major cities where everywhere it's traffic, so I was like, traffic is what it is. The sites, the culture, and everything. It's been good. That's what I love about the different places I've lived. I've met good people. I've been at multiple different gym communities, and it's pretty much the same anywhere I go, anywhere I've been. Just getting to know everybody in the gym, and then you develop relationships, and that then go from there. But that's why I'm good.
Because you won, what was the last show you won?
Ikaika. Yep, Ikaika. Let's did that. Yeah.
And what else did you do here?
That was my first show coming out here.
Okay.
Yeah. Last show I did before that was Tank Pro Stravaganza for Tim Martin. Tank obviously. So I run that show as well. So that was my last really great one too. But I did national after that.
Oh yeah, how about that?
I did the Open and I did the Masters. I just turned 40, so at that time I was 35 and up at Open. I got third in Open, and then I actually got fourth in Masters. So
really?
Did you say? Yes. You get the muscle maturity. Some of the guys that were in the Masters were a bit bigger and a little bit more, I think, mature with their muscle, but the size to it was probably my height. So I've done 6'2".
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what do you know? Not that we matters.
Yeah.
What do you know?
I like to be on stage at about 210 to 212. My goal is 215, good muscle. The Ikaika was 195, I think.
Yeah. That's pretty light.
If 212 is an arm, it's definitely 195.
Yeah, I went through what the move and all that stuff coming out here. I didn't have a whole lot of muscle mass on me, so I really just jumped into doing the show to qualify for next year.
Okay.
And didn't have a lot of muscle on me, so I just got conditioned, and that's kind of where I jumped out.
So objectively, since you got qualified for next year's lectures, what show do you have eyes on?
There'd be 2025 Universe, there in New Jersey.
Exactly. Yeah, that's
the show that I trained for at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's
gives you some time to put some meat back on.
Yep. I got a solid 9 months before prep starts. So hopefully they get up 260 maybe.
That'd be nice.
So I do have to ask before we move on. You said you competed many different states, regional level and national levels as well too. From state to state, did you see a significance of a difference from, I should say, the level of caliber that you're competing against from state to state, and also to the way that the shows were run? Was it very similar, or is Hawaii a little different, or what's your take on those two questions?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say I was learning my first competition because I was brand new out in Colorado. Competing is big out in Colorado. Armbrust Pro Gym is where I initially started training. Had a lot of good friends out there that I met that guided me and educated me on a lot of things. And my first coach, Warren Weber, he's the one that actually got me into it. That show I was very undersized. I think I was barely 190 getting on the stage. So the caliber of Open, they were all at 6'1" and above, 6'2" and above. They were big to me at the time, and I thought I was decent size. And then you get on stage, like, these guys are big. So competition out in Colorado is really good. Indiana is in between. It just depends on the show. Like I think anywhere you have the small shows, you have the main shows, starter shows, and more season shows. But Indiana's in between. I did the Indiana State. I actually won the overall novice, so that got me out of the novice there. And that's actually where Derek Lunsford's from. Yeah. So decent competition there, and then going down to Florida again. Everybody down there is outside and fit, and the 10th Pro was a big show. So that was my first. Other than nationals, I did my first national show in 2022, 2021, 2022. It's like somewhere in there, 2021, and I actually, so that was my first national show. It was universe when I went down to South Carolina because I had with this COVID, and there was a lot going on. It was very busy, and when they were doing my hike, I didn't take my shoes off. They were just pushing people through, and I didn't even think about it. I was nervous. They put me in there. It was a 6'3", 6'4". I mean, you look at the comparison pictures; these guys are like huge. So that was a rough first experience. I actually would have done. I got 6, but it was like 6 out of 12. So I didn't do bad, but I think the high class below me, I definitely would have been top 5 in that one. But those guys were monsters. So that was my first experience. But yeah, then going down to the 10 Pro was the next biggest show that I've done as a normal show, and it was good. I was when I won it. There was I think 2 other guys on stage that I think were better than me. That should, but they expected. Yeah, we did. So and then coming out of Hawaii, everybody here again is kind of like Florida. Everybody here's fit, and it's just a matter like out here because you're on an island. Either you have a hobby, so you either find something to do or you don't. And so I think training it's gotten more popular over the last 10 years. People are getting more into it, and the gym culture out here is huge between all the gyms here. So it's been a good community to be a part of. Ikaika is a good show. It is probably one of the smaller shows that I would say that I have competed in. However, for me, it is about timeline, and I couldn't do the Aloha, and I couldn't do Stingray or Sean Ray at the end of the year because I have to put on weight. So that was the closest show that I could do, and then hang it up and trying to gain weight for next year.
That's a good decision to make. Very wise decision because a lot of people they just jump into the shows arbitrarily, not well prepared, either going into the show or what's your plan after the show, And some people they just do it to collect hardware, and that's fine as well too.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you have an objective and a plan, I think that suits out very well for you.
Absolutely, and promoters I think is very important as well. Again, I was very new in Colorado, so it was a good show put together. Everything was good for the athletes. There was a head judge in Indiana and promoter that were really military driven, and he was all about the competitors. And you can tell when a show and the promoter is all about the competitors because everything's smooth and you get a lot of goodies and all that stuff. Yeah. And Tim Gardner's the same way. Like he is absolutely all about the competitors. So it's my only advice if I coach like men's physique guys is I try to set them up with a show that they're having a good experience. Because if they want to continue to do it, you don't want to go into a kind of bad experience with your training, your prep, and everything's, your tan, and you just have to know what's going on, or you just feel like you're lost. And,
go crazy. And so you actually coach guys? Yeah,
I do. I started training shortly after. So I did 4 years in the Marine Corps, 2 deployments, and then I got out, and then I went to security contracting. So I got recruited by the Department of State. So I trained some guys. I was out of Baghdad doing contract security for a company out there for about 6 years. Yeah, so I got into another set of training. So being a college athlete, and then going into military, and then going into contracting. It's all been different types of training. And so I got into training there. It was between 2009 and 2012. And then when I got home back to Indiana, there were just people that were asking me randomly. I wasn't charging because I was at that time going back to school to get my degree. And 2017, I just decided to start charging people, and then started coaching. I only do men's physique though. There's something that and new competitors. I have seasoned competitors, but they've been with me. That's why they're seasoned. But I like new competitors because I know what it's like to need to know and have that one-on-one attention.
Yeah.
Opposed to having a big. Everyone's with a big coach and all this stuff, but then you just know the number of that. So it's been good. It's been good. It's awesome.
So when you're playing, what sports were you doing? Like high school, college?
Yeah, so high school, floor athlete, swimming, basketball, baseball, track, and football. I went to swimming was my number one sport. That's kind of where my life. We all have things in our life that takes us down one path or the other. Swimming, I guess you could say, swimming prodigy when I was 8, 9, 10, 11 years old.
Oh, okay.
And I was from a small school, so I didn't really have the opportunity with the coaches and stuff.
I see.
I could have went to college to swim. I decided to go to college to play football. And I rode the Pine for 2 years, and I failed an anatomy and physiology course I was in. So I was trying to in radiology. Yeah, I was drinking and doing all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I ended up at the recruiting station, and then 2 weeks later I was in Mikey's.
What was your job?
Infantry.
Yeah.
So 2 pointers right there.
Yeah.
And then about 16 or 17 deployments to Baghdad. You scared contractors. So if you ever seen 13 Hours in the Guy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that was basically the job. So
You were doing that stuff. Huh?
Yep. So,
So that must have been some exciting stuff.
Yeah. It's a good experience. Did that till I was about 28. Yeah, about 2013. Went out to Denver, finished my degree in healthcare. So I got into healthcare at that point in time, and looked from there.
So what do you do now as far as employment, work, and such? Since you recently, obviously, you are out of the military and kind of just train people, what else do you do?
Yeah, so my primary job and something that I do not want to lose is healthcare operations. So basically, I just run clinics. The goal is to get my master's degree and move up to director and all that good stuff. Hopefully, I'm coming now, but I had the opportunity to come out here because there's a lot of veterans out here. So my clinic brings in veterans that apply for their benefits, and that we do the examinations and then send the benefits back to Libya.
I should talk to him about that. I got out of the military. I was like, F this. I washed my hands, cleaned them, and I never followed up on my benefits.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I didn't follow up to you is because I got another job outside that great health benefits, but now that I'm in my older years, I'm like, I should tap into my VA route. The only thing I took advantage of was the VA for buying property, since I'm a real estate investor. I took advantage of that.
Yep, you gotcha.
But thank you for serving as well too.
Yeah,
We all serve.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what branch were you guys in?
He was Navy. I did Air Force and then
Nice.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Was it?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did.
I was full-time Hawaii Air National Guard, so that was my full-time job before I got this other job that I'm with as well. So with the Air Guard, I think I worked full-time 15 years, 17 years or so, full-time, and then when traditional guardsmen tried to finish up my years and rode off into the sunset.
Put in the time. Yeah, I was good for 4 years.
Check it out.
But you had the exciting one here.
When you got the
You
security
made it out alive.
Well, you got any stories, man, about that? They even want to talk about
Yeah, probably not on TV, but
I mean, I'm sure there's
That's
awesome.
unclassified.
yeah, I did. I had to be truthfully honest, my first deployment was super active. Anything and everything that you probably ever seen. That's probably what happened. My second deployment, which was actually, so both of them were to Al Ramadi. So that Al Ramadi, Iraq. So at the time, in 2000, so I deployed in 2005, 2006. At that time, that's where the most active they came from Fallujah, all the insurgents was in that area. It was super bad. We actually went back. We were supposed to go to Afghanistan, so we were up in the mountains in California training for like a month. Came back down. They're like, you're going back to Armada, Iraq. At this point now, I'm now a sergeant instead of a lance corporal. So now I'm the vehicle commander instead of following. So we knew as a group that going back how it was the first time. So we were like, and the younger guys that were coming in, you know, they don't have the best concept of what's about to hit them.
Yeah.
So we go there and it's basically we're rebuilding the entire city. So we didn't really see a whole lot of action that second deployment at all. We actually got to fix everything that we destroyed, which was rewarding. So yeah, we got to fix the buildings, clean out their canals, give them electricity. So that was play with the kids. So it was just a completely different deployment. It was good. It was good to see.
Yeah.
But I contracted, my last year of contracting, I actually went up to Erbil, Iraq, which is the northern part of Iraq. So Iraq's, it's split into two different sections, basically two different countries. And Erbil, where the Kurdish are. So Saddam, they had like genocide at both points out there. And they love Americans up north. So that was, again, going up there as a contractor. Now I'm living out in the city, was completely different because they really embraced us and enjoyed us. And so I lived up in the mountains up there. I didn't even know there were mountains in Iraq at the time. So that last contract that I did was for about a year and a half. It was all of the owners of the oil companies like Hot Oil, BP, and all that. So we were taking all them up the mountains. We were drilling into the mountains for oil.
I see.
Yeah, so that was fun.
It's pretty different.
All before age 40, so
It was all for sure, and then
It's
you're
been a
like,
long, short life.
yeah, you're like, okay, I think it's time for me to get out of this life.
Yeah. Just decided that. Well, the IRS started dipping into our money, so we were getting paid good for the first 3 years of contracting, and then the IRS started taxing us
Of course.
more, and then Iraq started taxing us on
Oh,
top of
really?
that. So I'm like, I'm just gonna.
It's not worth it.
No, I
Yeah.
hit my like five years and 9 months. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go back, and I already had 2 years of college done. Use my GI Bill, finish up. So that's what I did, and
Okay.
then been in healthcare since.
Unscathed.
I did. I don't. Yeah, I
Lucky.
did.
Yeah.
So that whole time that you were deployed, were you still maintaining or were you able to work out a little, or were you on a regimen to make gains, or was there any type of exercise that was incorporated while you were?
Great question. So I do have a secondary degree in nutrition, which has helped me nothing with myself. But I thought that I was, when you meet somebody, they're like, oh, I eat really healthy and I feel like I eat enough. And then you see what they're actually eating and you're like, no. So that's kind of why I thought I was strong. I thought I was eating good. And then I got into bodybuilding and I was like, I was doing this all wrong, at least for this purpose.
Yeah.
And I was able, so like the one location I had a gym outside, I had the bench press and some dumbbells. There's been other locations where I've had military access, so I've got to go to their makeshift gym. Sometimes it's in a tent, sometimes it's
Yeah, I've been in the tent one. It's
hot as
It's
hell.
hot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The
Fuck,
tent
it's hot.
ones, we was in Saudi Arabia. That
Yeah.
was
Oh,
hot.
yeah.
I went there.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a different level of heat. It was
Yeah, time of year.
oddly hot.
So you
The
did get a
freezing
chance to
hot.
work out a little bit.
Yeah. I've always been able to work out. I think on every single location I've been, or I've actually the when I went up to Kurdistan, I actually had to get to a gym that they had. I had to go up a wood ladder, and it was a concrete building. There was a hole in it, so there was a wood ladder, but these people were like sleeping on the mattresses, like right after you get inside this little hole, and then you have to go through this door, and it's this broke down building. There's nothing in there.
That's great. No,
And then there's this random
I
gym
love that. It's
in the back,
Yeah.
and that's
If
where I
you know,
spent.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
so it was a process. And,
That's cool.
yeah, so it's
That
been.
means you're dedicated, man.
Yeah.
I can make it happen.
Oh man, you
Because
got a
so
lot
you've
of
been
time
working
on
out
this.
your whole life, pretty much. I mean, not
Yeah.
for bodybuilding, but just
Yep.
training in general,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
And
Since
then
I
bodybuilding,
was
how many years?
since I was 9,
Since
probably.
you were 9.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yep.
And then how many years of bodybuilding, like bodybuilding specifically?
If we want to count actual shows, because my off seasons, I suck. I'm probably the worst. I suck at off season. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
But I after every show, because of where I've moved, I've taken at least 1 to 2 years off. So I did a show in 2017.
Oh,
I didn't compete again until 2019, and then I competed in 2019, and I moved again, and
but you were
then
training.
yep, yeah, I was training. I was training just
You feel like it's more maintenance.
just non-regiment. Yeah, just really training to make myself stronger. But again, when you're always on a plan, you just feel like you have guidance. Some people have the ability to guide themselves with their little notebooks and all that stuff. For me,
Right.
I kind of mentally, I don't write anything down. I just know in every machine and every lift where I know that I can lift. I lift the heavy weights far behind. I don't care how strong I am. I don't care how strong somebody else is. I will squat 225 and be just fine with it. But I will be purposeful with everything that I do. But I would say probably 4 years, 4 years total, four and a half.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Out of the 7 with the time off. Yeah,
yeah.
of actual
That's cool.
competitions.
Of actual training for
Mhm.
competition.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's fun. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. So it's been
So
good.
as far as the not heavy lifting or ego lifting, did you purposefully choose or opt not to do for preservation of like tissue? You hate that word again.
Tissue.
Ligaments and joint care and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
preventative measures
yeah,
to kind of avoid injury and stuff like that, or it was just you like lifting that style better.
yeah. I think once I got past age 37, I started paying a little bit more attention to my body instead of powering through it.
Okay.
I have a back injury from my second deployment. It was funny enough, which was the non-active one, and my L3, L4. So I wear a belt no matter pretty much what I do. I always have a belt on. I do strengthen my core, but I have to have the belt because my back, when it goes out, I'm in bed for at least a week, and it happens for doing the stupidest stuff. So anything that I do is very specific to my back injury first and foremost. That's where my ego immediately, when I decided, well, after the first 2 times my back went out, my ego went out the window, and then my joints, my elbows, you get the tendonitis, you get the forearm crap when you're doing biceps,
Yeah.
golfers and tennis elbow front and back. So I, I just listen to my body, and I do a lot of time under tension, a lot of mind muscle connection, and that's different for everybody. But I ensure that I progress, but I'm also not putting myself out to digress, right? So
Good answer.
yeah.
Good answer.
It's cool, man. So, what have you been doing on the island besides, I mean, you're training that? What do you do for other things, man? Are you just kind of getting out there? You do hiking? You kind of do something? What kind of activities, man?
Yeah, I'm really boring. But
Yeah.
when I first got here, I don't like sharks, but I decided, I think one weekend I saw this company that was on North Shore, and
Oh, the shark.
Blue Ocean or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so I went shark diving, free shark diving.
Oh,
Just jumped on with there was a group of 3 or 4 people, and then I just jumped on with them, and I went out there and hopped in and
swim
swam with
sharks.
sharks.
Yeah.
So that was a good
Nice.
experience.
Did you just force yourself to get over that shark fear, or
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know really. I didn't think about it until I actually got on the boat, and then I was like,
You were like, wait,
I
what am
signed
I
up
doing?
for?
yeah, I was like, then I really started getting nervous. I was like, what am I
Yeah.
doing? And I get seasick too, so then I was worried about
Mm,
getting seasick,
mm.
and this goes back to I took a trip to East Las Mujeres, Mexico, and I went scuba diving for the first time,
Mm.
and I had 3 or 4 mimosas in the morning. It's all
Oh,
inclusive,
dude.
big ass
And you went
breakfast.
on the
Went on
boat.
this boat, but it was
I
a
get seasick, so I
speedboat.
know. Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
I know.
Oh my gosh! Before we got
Bad
there,
idea.
I was puking all over the place, and this
Yeah.
guy's like, "Hey, just jump in the water, get underwater, you feel better." And I did.
Hmm.
And we went and saw the statues underwater, and one of the people's oxygen was getting low with the guide that we were down there with, and mine was fine. So he goes up with this person, and I'm just like, continuously just circling because I'm like, I'm gonna be that guy who's gonna get eaten at the bottom of this ocean, and plus there's puke all over the water, so
Yeah.
I'm
Oh
thinking
yeah. You have
chum, and
chum everywhere. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Come on,
so
swimmers.
I hit the back of the top of the water, and I hit the waves, and I puke all over.
Oh,
Fish
you're
were
still
just
throwing it in
attacking
the
me.
water. Wow, dude.
Yes, fish were all over the
Yeah,
place. I
bad
got out.
idea.
Yeah, and so I got in the water. I actually was fine on the ride out there, no problems. Oh, okay. And then I got in the water, and we were out there pretty far to get to the sharks, and it was a wavy day. So I got down, did my pictures and stuff, and got close to the sharks and all that, and then came back up. And while everybody else is going, I'm going down and coming up, but I'm hitting those waves, and I'm like, I don't feel good. And I do it again, and I'm puking all over the place.
That's
I get in a
funny.
boat, and then it's just miserable after the first time. You just don't stop.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
But I've done some hikes here and there, and
Yeah, no, that's good.
yeah, I don't go
That's
to the
good.
beach too often.
Exploring the island at least. A
Yeah,
lot of people come here and they just had a lot of, especially a lot of like military guys have said, "Oh, I don't really like it here," because I feel like a lot of times they don't go out and explore it.
yeah, 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 yeah,
They're not doing all the things that are available.
yeah, absolutely.
It's small, obviously, but I think there's a lot that you can do here. You just got to get out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a part of just, meeting people. Again, in every location, it's just I've tried to make friends, and it takes a while. You come in a gym. Like when I came here, I didn't talk to anybody probably for the first month and a half. I was saying hi to people and reaching out and stuff, but it's like, who's this weird guy coming in? And you guys have people rotating through here all the time. It
Yeah.
was much like Florida, and once they see the consistency and see that, okay, this guy's going to be here for a little bit, and then people start talking, and then you just have to be a nice person. It's not, just be nice.
Yeah, that's it.
And that's all it takes.
That's
And
really all it
yeah.
is. Yeah.
And then people start pointing, hey, do this, do that. And then you get to see more of the area and stuff. But
Because you found when you came on the island, I mean, did you find this gym before coming on the island? Did you look us up before?
I did.
Oh, you did. Okay.
That's always my wherever I move, if there's no gym, I don't care if it's for a job. I won't go there if there's not a gym in the location, and if it's not a good gym. The
Okay.
problem with coming out here originally was I didn't know anything about the island. So I was all the way out in Kapolei, and
Oh,
I
you
was
didn't
in a
know.
townhome. Yeah.
You didn't
My
know that it
job
was.
is in Waterfront Plaza, so oh my God.
That's
So
nice.
that
You're running
drive,
that traffic. What?
Nice
yeah.
to and
Are you
from.
still there?
No,
Oh,
no. I 6 months, and I was like, okay, I moved.
You're in
Yeah, I moved over
closer.
by Cahica,
Oh, okay.
but this gym was on my way out, so I was able to stop here and train until nighttime. I mean, it's only a 19-minute drive when there's no traffic, but
Yeah.
when there is, it's an hour and
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Plus, the culture here is like other bodybuilding cultures,
Mhm.
right? Everybody has their own unique recipe to their area, but here is the culture of the gym. I like sweating, so a lot of people like AC. I like sweating, so
Yeah.
it's to the point where at least I can breathe. But I like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like the atmosphere here.
So you said you moved into Kaheka in town?
Mhm.
So
Yep.
you're closer to 24 Fitness,
I
but you
am.
still
I
rather
will.
drive
Yep.
here.
Yep.
Oh, he's a loyalist.
I will not go over the 24 hour.
You're
Yeah.
obviously one of
No. No.
those.
You.
Come on.
I hate it
You.
there.
I know.
You get in, and I've been to GY's a nice gym. I've been to other gyms here, but it's just convenience for me is 100%, and consistency. So I get very irritated if I'm off my schedule. I'm very schedule oriented,
Yeah,
regimented, and now I drive out the opposite way, but it's still part of my schedule every day. If I miss it or if I do it, I get irritated. But knowing the people in here, knowing where the machines are, knowing exactly what I'm going to do when I come in here, if I go to a new gym, I don't mind training, but then I'm spending an extra 20 minutes trying to figure out where the heck I'm going,
Yeah.
and not knowing when people are on machines and stuff. So
Yeah.
but yeah, I think regiment is big.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I mean,
It's a good question.
because yeah, there's really not like again,
Mhm.
there's Iron Hawaiian, I mean, GY, similar stuff,
Yep.
similar thing going on over there, and I mean that's kind of it as far as like open air gyms, right?
Yeah.
Like all the other ones have AC and stuff
Yeah.
like
Or
that. So
Iron Dungeon or what is Nostam Gym, but you're not like you're gonna drive out to the
well,
west
I
side.
yeah,
don't
You
but
know
know,
if I've heard of that
that's
one.
yeah,
yeah, but that's
private
more of
gym.
like a private,
Yeah,
like a
Mm.
really like friends only kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's small. Yeah.
yeah.
So
But
he
that's
does
the
this
only
private thing.
yeah.
Yeah, because all the other ones have AC. I mean, everybody has AC.
Yeah.
Like I'm, yeah. So open air, and that was my thing when I started this was
I always was like, man, I want open air. Like, I don't like AC either. Training in AC, I never did. I never
Your
like
body cools
training in
off
AC.
fast, your heart
Yeah,
rate drops
yeah,
back.
all of it. I
Yeah,
just like,
it's
man,
hard to get a pump on.
I mean, obviously, we're kind of luckier, right? Because it's not too hot, right? If it was like 110 out, we'd have to have
Yeah.
AC. Everybody be
Something.
dying.
Yeah.
You know, people be dying in the
Late days would
gym,
be rough.
like literally physically dying in the gym. So I'd be losing members. So
Yes.
I don't want that. So no. So I think, yeah, it's kind of like it gets really pretty hot here, I think, but it's still manageable.
Yeah.
And then we have the fans. It's like, okay, it's not too bad. And I hope, doesn't get hotter, with climate change and
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
In which case, maybe
I
it'll
wanna-
get colder here. I don't
Uh-oh,
know.
I don't know. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding. I'm just
Maybe
kidding.
some snow that's not in the mountains over here.
Oh yeah, maybe one day we'll get snow here. You never know. No.
So how
The Big
long
Island
now
gets
have
snow.
you been on the islands?
So I've
Been
been
a
here
year?
for a year.
A
Yep.
year,
A
yeah.
year.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Just hit a year and a month. So where I work, they're contracted by the VA. Their contract's good through 2028. Albeit, if I, got promoted to director, that would just depend on where that location's at.
Mm.
But right now, I'm here until the contract
Oh, till the contract.
renews.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a large. There's two other companies on the island do the same thing. So, and this is an island full of veterans. So
I know. There's a lot of military.
VA so behind and everything. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially here, I know a lot of people get lost. I mean, veterans alone
yeah,
nationwide get lost in the
Yeah.
sauce. Just here is pretty bad, and
Yeah.
there's more people like me that
yeah,
don't follow up or follow through with their VA that could
Mm.
use your help as well too.
yeah. It's been rewarding and also learning things that I didn't know because when I got out, I didn't apply really for anything. They didn't educate me when I got out, and it's a
Yeah.
big deal.
Wait, what year did you get out?
So I got out in 2008.
Oh, I got out 07. So
Yeah,
yes, they didn't really.
yeah, and a recession.
They had TAPS. I remember there was a class where it's like a week-long thing.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then it was
Here's
kind
how
of
you
like,
make a resume.
yeah, and it was kind of like the VA thing, they made it sound like it was going to be really difficult. I remember I was like, wow, like, okay, this is weird. Like
Yeah,
if you want to apply for VA benefit stuff,
yeah,
I remember just being like, it sounds like it's going to be a lot for me to do,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
getting out and there was a lot going on at times. So I was like, oh man, I don't know. Let me figure that out later.
and you have to,
Hmm.
I actually started applying once I understood it after working this job. I started applying for the stuff that I was diagnosed with and all that stuff. But the problem is the way that they have it set up is you have to have documentation and have been said something or been seen while you're in the service.
Yeah.
Like, come on, I'm a 20-year-old kid that played sports, and this applies to a lot of people that played sports my entire life. I grew up on a farm. My parents were like, I'll give you something to cry about. You're in the Marine
Yeah.
Corps infantry. I'm not gonna start complaining about
Everything,
my
yeah.
shoulder and my
Yeah.
headaches and all that stuff.
Right.
And even if I did, it was seen by a corpsman, and then give you some Motrin and ice, and that's what we
That's
got.
it. That's it.
So I'm like, I don't know how you want me to explain that to you. But when I got out, it was the same thing. You can't claim for stuff like PTSD, TBI. I was on the verge of either being a cop or I worked for the Department of State. You carry a gun. You can't have a gun if you have PTSD.
Okay.
And stuff like that. They're like, well, why haven't you said anything since then? And you have to put it in context, which has been good to have my own examiners and educate them on what is and what isn't in that regard, because there's a story, you have to put context behind somebody that you're seeing. It's not just VA rules and denied. It's just not the way it works. But it's been rewarding, understanding and then applying. So definitely, if you have not applied, definitely do so, and then don't stop. It's a process. You're going to get denied. Keep going.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I've been doing. I'm still going.
Keep going.
Veterans, because there's a lot of veterans.
Sure,
Watch
right.
this.
All right.
Keep going, guys. I mean, get
I'll
get
do
to
it.
the 100.
Keep
Get to
We'll
the
talk
100.
afterwards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
So
it's a big
we're gonna switch topics for a minute. But like, we'll talk about training.
Yeah.
So we get into training right now. What type of training do you like? Like, what's your splits? What's your style of training? What's the theories that you kind of like believe in or go with?
Well, for me, so my coach Justin, he is out of Arizona. Awesome coach. I linked up with him in 2022. So I follow his protocol.
Mm.
It varies. It varies not necessarily always off season during prep, but where my weak points are. Obviously, the whole goal of competing is shaping your body. So, I have a wide back from swimming. I have big
Oh
traps
yeah.
from swimming. I swam butterfly for 15 years. So it's not
Okay.
like people are like, well, how do I get traps like that? We'll swim for 15 years. I don't know what to tell you. It was just, that's genetic. So
Yeah.
it was just something I did. But my arm, because, they say that the length of your wingspan is supposed to be the same as you are tall. Mine's like 3 inches longer than my body. So position. So my arms are decent size. They just because I'm so lanky that you have to position yourself. I do on stage to make it look like my arms are like everybody else's, nice and thick. So I guess to the point of your question is it just depends on where my weak points are at that time. Could be my
Mm.
shoulders, my back, but I follow Justin's protocol. I personally like doing, a couple days heavy at the beginning of the week, and then I like to do high reps at the end of the week. Hit
Okay.
my weak points twice a week. I've
Mm.
gotten into doing legs twice a week now. Typically before that, I would do legs once a week,
Hmm.
and then when I get closer to my show, I cut legs out altogether. But now I guess they're for men's physique, they're doing
Well, they want you to fill
legs.
out your pants or
Yeah,
shorts a little bit better and glutes because
yeah.
I mean, the way that it sits on you, you can't just
Yeah.
have like that
That
flat
the,
ass.
the
It
the
kind of
hanging
looks
the
weird.
shorts that are hanging, right? They want it to
Yeah.
be so just get a smaller size shorts.
Yeah, and I personally I feel because there's from my experience in the national shows, I feel like that a lot of guys that have a classic physique body who cannot make it in classic physique, they drop down to physique, but they already have large legs. So you
Mm.
see these guys with these large legs. Like before, you didn't see that. It was all upper body. Now it's lower legs, and then since CBum has come on, everybody's need to have huge legs.
Yeah.
So all these classic physique guys jump in shorts, right? Every national show, they'll go on and do classic physique, and they'll jump in
You
shorts, and
see
they're the
him.
ones that
And you see
win.
him.
It's like
Oh, I see.
which physique are you? Are you both? What's the category here? So I get confused sometimes with that and a little frustrated personally. But it is what it is. It's a sport. It's either you do it or you don't.
Hmm.
So I will continue to work on my legs, but it's at this point at 40 years old, they're going to grow to where they're going to
A
grow.
little bit.
Yeah.
So you'll still get some growth on.
I'll
It's
start getting
definitely
atrophy here
hard.
soon, but
I mean, it's hard, yeah, and your 40s to get growth in your legs is tough. Not that it's not impossible, but it's definitely harder.
yeah, and my body is pretty, symmetrical from head to toe.
Yeah.
But I just don't have those dominant quads.
Right.
I
Well,
never,
and
I
you're
never will.
taller. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
I never
So
will, and that's okay.
that's
So is
fine.
that ever so elusive pro card the goal, or you just love to compete?
Both.
Okay.
I compete with a purpose. I did say the last time when I was at North Americans, which was the last national show I did, that the next time I step on a national stage, it will be for my card. Now, I am a big advocate of telling people you can't control who shows up. So it's like it's a subjective sport.
Mhm.
Either they like you that day or they don't. But I have to feel comfortable being more than competitive, knowing that I'm going to go in there and be in the top three, and then it's either going to be him or me. Um, and that's why this year I decided that I'm not going there just for experience. I'm not going there to waste my money. So I'm going to wait till next year, and albeit that I am ready to go, it'll be Universe or it'll be TCM or it'll be North Americans, or all three.
Mm. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I fully intend on having my card next year. So that is the goal.
I mean, are you good? Are
And
you
if I
good
don't, it
on
is.
diets? Do you have a difficult time with your prep with your diets, or do you diet
Hmm.
well?
So, I mean, transparency for this last prep, I Justin, sorry, I cheated a lot. I think he knew through kind of some of the words I was telling him. Bringing this package is just not going to cut it at a national show. Every other prep to the T, I condition very well, and I am very strict. And I'll have a moment or two where I'll have it's not even a refeed meal. It's really just a cheat meal
Yeah.
for on my own. It won't even be instructed. I would just be like, I'm mentally at that point where I just need something. My body has
Hmm.
conditioned to the point where if I do this, it's not going to set me back any, but it will help me mentally.
Mentally, yeah, right.
But every other prep, I don't have cheat meals.
Okay.
I don't have them in my plan. I have always
Okay.
been just strict and pretty regimented. So, and that the military's helped with that. So I've been very on my deployments. You only have so much you can eat at the DFAC. So it's been pretty simple, really, for the most
Yeah.
part. Other than this last one, and I knew that I would have a good enough physique to show up to the show. While that's never my mindset, it was just the way this one went. It was a busy year. So
So off season, you said you're not that strict when it comes to dieting on your off season. But besides the whole dieting part on an off season, what about cardio? Do you still incorporate cardio in your off season for heart health and then on season for like heart health and fat loss, or how do you do?
yeah, so Justin usually has me on 3 to 4 days of about 20-minute stairs on the
Oh,
off
is that
season.
it?
Yeah.
Okay. That's off season though. Okay.
Yeah, but he again in the off season diet though, he doesn't have me eat anything other than what's gonna, help me.
Mm.
I eat the Oreos and the cereal and the
Yeah.
ice cream on my
So
own,
you have
and
a
I'll have
sweet
pizza.
tooth. You like the
Yeah.
sugary stuff. Yeah.
But I'll get to the point where it's like I'm tired of this, and then I'm strict and on it again. But
Yeah.
I eat my meals that I'm supposed to, and then I have extra. So I eat my
Mm.
vegetables first, and then I have a little dessert. But during prep, I'll probably start off with 2 or 3 days, 15 minutes, depending on how my conditioning goes and where my body's at. I do long preps, 22, 24 weeks.
Oh, really? Oh,
I
okay.
love long preps. It keeps me not feeling like I'm behind and rushed, and my body takes a while for it to kick in, but once my metabolism kicks in and it's game over, like I can just cruise right into
Mm.
doing whatever
That's
I'm
good. Yeah.
doing. But it'll raise to five. One prep, it was 6 days, 15, 20 minutes, but I don't kill myself on cardio anymore. My first couple it was fasted cardio, even cardio, fasted cardio, even cardio. So I've gone through
Mhm.
that a couple
Yeah.
times, but it's just not needed for me anymore.
So you just
I
rely
just lose too
more.
much weight.
You
So
rely more on the diet
yeah,
than yeah,
yeah,
and then the cardio is just
yeah, yeah.
For
so
the
you can get some
minimal amount
sweat.
of cardio that you do, even in your on season, your metabolism sounds pretty freaking like a furnace.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I want to test this one day without the drugs. So, I mean, once my drugs kick in, it's my peds, whatever you want to call it. It is. I know when they start working. It's like overnight. It's almost like you wake up in the morning, you're like, damn, now we're cooking. So,
Hmm.
I don't know how it would go if I was on anything. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure how much muscle I'd retain either, because that's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah.
I don't. And we can get in the conversation of peas and stuff, but I don't abuse it, so I probably don't take as much as some people. But I know what works for me and what helps me condition for a show as far as keeping muscle and
So,
good symmetry.
PG, what do you use for fat burning then, as far as PEDs?
Well, I didn't use anything other than testosterone my first show. That was the only thing I was really on it. I think maybe a little bit of clean. And then going into first two shows actually, and then going into switching coaches before Justin. I was with the Pro Physiques out of Arizona, which I think Justin was a part of them first. I had Damien, who was Sydney. I think it's Sydney's coach, and he was a good guy.
Mhm.
I enjoyed him. He had me on a specific regimen. I think I used Tren and Masteron. No, actually, I just used Tren with it. I didn't use Masteron. So
Oh wow.
I used Tren. That was my first time. I didn't have any issues with it
Yeah.
there for that entire prep.
Hmm.
He's got a big clientele. In my first national show with him, he actually flew out because I tried to tell people, if you go to a national show, you're not going to get on stage till 2 o'clock. if you're lucky,
Yeah.
and especially in his physique. And I got on at 2:30, and I think he flew back to Arizona before I even got on stage.
Oh, really?
I was in the class, and he knew I wasn't going to win.
Yeah, yeah.
That didn't set right with me. I
Okay.
don't coach hop. My other coach just stopped coaching.
Okay.
And that's when I found Damon. But so he left during my first national show, and I was like, you're a good guy, but that's just not.
Yeah,
I
well,
wasn't cool with it.
that's kind of odd that he didn't. Why wouldn't he just plan to stay that day?
Yeah,
That's
he's
kind of
like, I gotta
weird.
get back, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So I kicked that off season, did my own thing, and then I was referred to Justin, and I couldn't be happier. So with him, it's been a little bit of both. We did Trend one, and then Master on the other. I don't really with those two. I don't need Clean. I haven't used Clean since probably my second or third competition.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And
So you don't
yeah,
run,
Anabar, as Clean. So Trainer Master on Anabar, testosterone, usually test P.
That's kind of it.
That's pretty it.
Oh,
That's pretty mild. That's pretty mild.
Yeah.
Very
it's
mild.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
I mean, if it works, oh man.
Yeah.
If you're getting the look, the condition that you want.
And he's placing well just by
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
the bare
yeah,
minimum. That's
yeah.
freaking awesome.
I have always been on stage the most conditioned out of anybody in every show.
Oh, really?
There's nobody that's ever out conditioned me on a show. Never. You can look at all my shows. Now my size, that's a different story.
The thing, right?
But I'm not losing size during my prep. I'm actually growing into my prep. It's just in my off season, I don't take that much to grow other than food. I take a little bit here and there, and that's kind of where I'm at now. I'm trying some different stuff. We're gonna see what happens, and see if it works, and see what 2025 brings.
Yeah, man. I mean, you never know.
So,
Maybe throwing a couple more things in the mix. Who knows? Not.
so if I start gaining weight,
throw a couple more
why.
things in the mix, bro.
Some
Toss it in there.
halos,
See what happens.
T-ball.
Yeah, we are we're experimenting with some stuff that I haven't used, so we'll see how the reaction is.
Yeah, shit. I mean, yeah, that's pretty good though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you put another 10 pounds on, you'd be probably doing really well.
Yeah.
So
everybody's big these days, so
it's hard. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's harder too. Taller. I mean, it's going to be takes a little more time to pack on muscles.
But I'm 40 now, so the older you get, the more the playing level, the playing
level.
Field. I love competing against the young guys.
Yeah,
and I do well against them, but
you feel like you're better in your bracket, in your age group.
Bigger and bigger and bigger. And I know the older guys are big too, but
there's some good, but so you probably have a better chance. Yeah,
with the guys bodybuilding.
It's crazy too. Like with the younger guys, with the internet and such, they sensationalize the use of steroids from a very young age. Even like 16 or maybe even younger. So they got that much more time and. So I can understand it's the next generation coming up is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Yeah.
Well, I think some guys they're maxing out, they're tapping out their bodies young, They're starting so young, and by the time these guys are hitting 30s, they're kind of like
18,
early 30s.
19, 23.
They're kind of burning out already. Yeah, they're burning out by the time they're hitting 30. So
I got a hairline, but I still have my hair, so I'm
still different. Yeah.
I don't think
genetically my hair something, it's not too bad.
Same hairline since I was 18. It's okay. It's
You're one of the lucky ones too. Got hair. When did you start losing hair, Mark?
Who said I lost hair? No.
You used to have long, dude.
I did.
You had
I had
long hair.
Before. Pictures of yours.
Yeah, you see them.
Smooth hair.
No, you know what it was? It was that freaking. It had to be that freaking trend, though. I swear it was that trend because. I remember because my hair. It was good, and then I think I want to say maybe early 30s. I remember like in the back here. There was like a little bald spot, like a little spot here. No. And I was like, what is that? What is that? And I was doing like minoxidil and all this crap, thinking, oh, that's just a bald spot. But then obviously that was the start of it, right? And then my hair just kind of started thinning. So it was a lot back here is where it started thinning. Mm-hmm. And then, and I was just kind of like, I remember making that commitment to it. I was like, even before I was like, oh, am I willing to lose hair so I can be freaking jacked and be bodybuilding pro? And I was like, yeah, fuck it. I remember thinking that, like, I love my hair, but then I was like, man, fuck, I'm just going to be jacked. Like, I want to be jacked. So I kind of that was the commitment that I made to it.
So when I started losing it, I wasn't tripping too much. But then, of course, it's shitty though when you're done bodybuilding and it's just like, oh shit, I wish I kind of had hair. But whatever, it's all good. I mean, I have a decent shape
Did you
head,
see
so.
in his heydays, Mark
I
was
did.
like the
Oh,
Iron
yeah.
Hawaiian Fabio.
Yeah, I saw his picture. He got the women hanging
hair,
on
that's-
him. He's on the beach.
That was the 90s, man. That was the 90s. Yeah.
He had a good physique.
Those were the good old days. Yeah, yeah.
Hair,
We didn't have
smile.
we didn't have classic physique or nothing back then. It was bodybuilding, so it was all bodybuilding, you know. So
Yeah.
whatever. I think I would have fit in more with the classic physique guys, but you know, hey, now that's a classic physique.
Yeah, I think it was one of the posts. That's where I saw that. Yeah, little magazine.
Oh yeah, it was a magazine one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was good.
yeah. It was fun.
What about you, Jed? When did you notice you started to moat?
I did. There was a time where I was doing like 1,200 milligrams of Primobolan a week.
That's crazy. Are you sure it's Primo though?
Well, that's what the guy said it was.
I know. It's
And,
probably pro.
I was in the shower and I started pulling out
Oh,
balls of
dude.
hair.
No, I never had that.
And then I was like, all right, this
Yeah.
is, I mean, most of my family gets receding hairlines, but nobody gets bald. So I'm the first one to ever go bald.
And they're like, "What happened to Jed?" He's
that-
on the
I think they
sauce.
know.
Yeah,
They
oh,
know.
okay.
They don't ask. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was, I want to say maybe 10 years ago
Mm.
or so. I mean, it started thinning
Oh,
out.
so
but
you're in
then,
your 20s. Yeah.
no, I was in my
Wait.
30s.
Wait, how old are you now?
I'm 41.
Oh, keep thinking you're
So,
like 30.
It was yeah, so it was thinning, but then when I did that, it just started coming out. Then I had to start shaving my head.
That's crazy. Yeah, I never
It's
had
Yeah.
that.
crazy. I feel
had
bad
the
for you,
coming
man.
out.
You guys start molting and losing your hair up top, then it starts growing like everywhere else,
Yeah,
right?
It's weird. Like you start because I still don't have that much hair on my back. I have like a little bit here on my lats, like, and maybe light on the upper back, like
Yeah.
really light. So I don't have thick hair, which is great. But I never had hair on my back until probably like 40 or something.
Yeah,
Like
then
none.
they start coming out your ears.
Well,
and
luckily I
they
don't
start
have hair on my
longer from
ears.
your
I don't have
nose,
hair on my
right?
ears. No.
You remember
Crazy.
when I had my bicep reattached and I couldn't shave out here?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Shit was
dude.
coming out through my
Yeah,
shirt collar.
Jed's bad.
My whole body, you can't even see my
Jed
skin
is
to let the shit
bad.
grow
Yeah.
out. It's
You got the
always
fur
been like
coat.
that. Yeah.
Woolly
It's
man.
always been like
he
that.
gets.
I mean, I get hairy, but I don't get.
I've been
no,
shaving
mine's
this
blonde,
shit
though,
since
so-
I was in high
Yeah,
school.
you're kind of like.
It's just my front.
Yeah.
side, I don't get the.
It's
fur coat, though.
everywhere, dude. It's ridiculous.
Jed gets loaded with the hair. Yeah, it's
I don't know
crazy.
where the fuck that came from, but
It's probably from the shit. Possibly.
no, it's like that since high
Yeah.
school.
Did you,
Oh, yeah, high
did
school,
you
okay.
do minoxidil and or finasteride on your head too when you're losing it? I was about to say,
I
or
tried
could it be a
minoxidil.
phenomenon where you're shampooing it and the minoxidil would go over the rest of your body, right?
That's what it is.
So
Good
would
theory.
it do that?
I don't know. I don't know.
That's a good
No,
theory.
because I would the shampoo. I don't know. I would use the little dropper
Oh,
thing,
okay, okay.
and I would just do the droppers because that was
Massage
like
it.
directly on the scalp.
Yeah.
The shampoo, I wasn't sure about it because it was kind of like you're washing it.
Yeah.
I was like, how is this? You know, it's really getting in there. So those droppers are good because I could just run it like right here. And I noticed what was weird about it is it kind of worked. But so I got like, it's not like I'm completely bald there. I still have hair there. It's just that my hair is really, really thin now.
Yeah.
So I still have the hair. It's
Yeah.
just thin. And so what I noticed was there was more hair coming out, but it was still kind of thin. I noticed that. So I was like, okay, it's kind of working. But the thing with that is you can never stop. You have to constantly do it.
Mhm.
If you stop for a little while, then the hair goes away.
So would you do a hair trans or whatever they call it? I see a lot more people.
know.
Sebum
I don't
did
know.
it.
Yeah, a lot of
Terrence
people do.
Buddy of
Ruffin?
mine did it. When I saw that,
Yeah.
oh my god! I don't
It's
know
in
if you've ever
Turkey.
Yeah,
actually
I
seen
don't
it.
know.
I went there.
Like when they were done,
It's
like how
awkward as hell.
Yeah, I have to show you pictures.
I heard
Oh
their
no,
head
they
gets like
they like
swollen and
cut
shit.
into there and they do
yeah,
the plugs.
it's
And
hideous.
I guess they take the hair from back here.
Yep.
And then they move it
Yep.
in the front.
Damn.
I don't know if I would do that.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know if I
Oh,
would.
this guy had a pretty good transformation for his hair.
It's
His
pretty
buddy of mine,
expensive.
but-
It's like 20 grand.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
It's pricey.
Yeah,
Oh, I heard
I mean,
if you go out to
you gotta
Turkey, it's
really
not
look
that
there.
bad. Room and
Oh,
board. everything.
Turkey
It's
is
not bad.
yeah, but it's not a doctor that's doing it. I heard
Oh, frick.
it's a nurse.
Yeah,
or
like
whatever,
going
If
yeah.
it works, who gives a
Over
shit?
to
Well, as
Brazil-
long as they do it
over to
right.
Brazil
Yeah.
for your butt and your.
Well, you hear
breast.
horror stories too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Infections and shit.
Yeah.
People going overseas. It's
Or
like
taking your kidney out while you're in the middle
Oh,
of
God.
surgery.
Man.
Somehow you're like, why do I have pain back here? What's
Yeah.
going on? Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy out there with all this procedures.
Yeah.
And because we were talking about people using like synthol and stuff too, you know, like
Okay.
and would you ever mess with that shit? No. Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, there's guys that are still doing it, you know, and you'll see it or even just I know a lot of guys will just inject their anabolics into their shoulders or whatever, and it'll give that localized swelling.
Yeah.
But there's guys, dude, that I still see, especially shoulders and arms. It's like you see them like crazy shoulder caps, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not buying it. And I think men's physique is one of them that I would think would be a good one to really get those shoulders popping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you can keep your waist really small and just get that extra half inch on the shoulders, and now you look kind of nuts with that small waist.
You got to have that striation in there though. Like,
Yeah.
what was it? What's his name? Mr. Olympia. a couple
Persian
years ago.
Wolf. What's his name?
Hottie.
Hottie.
No, not Howdy.
Oh, you're talking about the men's physique.
Big. No, I'm talking about bodybuilding.
Rami.
Yeah, Rami.
Yeah.
He got. Didn't they say he had some stuff in his
No,
There-
shoulders?
I
they
think
said
there was something.
Hottie was they were saying he might have been putting some
Yeah.
oil inside of there.
Yeah.
But you
I
gotta. The
think
thing
Rami
is, you
a
gotta
couple
get
years ago
all the
they
way
said
in.
it. Yeah.
Like you gotta inject that. It's like
God, why
an
did
inch
you
and a
do
half,
that?
probably. You want to use an inch and a half, and a pin, and you go all the way in. You can hit the bone. I've actually hit
Yeah.
my bone. It feels really weird.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
it feels weird. But you go all the way in, and then that's how you inject that synthol. I never did synthol. I only did it in my arms for a little while because I have the torn bicep, and I was like, man, I want to try and make it even because there's like a divot here.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me try and make it even. So I said, let me do some injections in my arms. So I did them in both arms,
Yeah.
because I was like, well, let me fill it. And it kind of filled it out. Like it did help.
Yeah.
It filled it out a little bit. And I only did it for, I don't know, like 6 weeks, something like that, just
Okay.
short, just so it would fill it out.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. And I kind of helped, but then after that, I'm not doing it again. I mean,
Yeah.
because
These
it's
videos,
just-
it was worth
it was just a lot.
The
It was,
results.
it was okay, but I was like, I don't think I even necessarily needed it. I just didn't, when you're looking at yourself and you see that little thing, you're like, man, I don't like that,
Yeah.
So I wanted to try and fix it, but you could run the risk of making it worse. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
How long does it stay?
Like, if you were doing it, say you did it for like a month and you were doing it because you can do it like 3 days a week.
Mm.
They say 2 days, 3 days a week, just depends, and
Pins.
a lot of pinning. Yeah. I don't know. It would stay like a few weeks. Like you
Okay.
could get like a couple weeks out of it, depending on how long you're doing it
Yeah.
for. Yeah. And yeah, it would stay, and then eventually it would just kind of
Yeah.
break down in your system.
Interesting.
But it's hard, right? It's probably bad on your kidneys and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Because now I have I have mild kidney disease,
Yeah.
probably from all the shit that I did.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
my readings are kind of like lower. I think it was like 67 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
You
like
can get that
stage
from
2.
relaxing too.
Yeah, I mean you can get it from all kinds of stuff, and you can actually fix it too.
Yeah.
But again, I think and then when you get older too, you're gonna get
Yeah.
some damage
Something.
anyway.
Yeah.
But
Something's gonna happen.
but the stuff doing that stuff, I mean, yeah, diuretics and
Mhm.
cutting water, and you're gonna get a little bit of damage there,
Yeah.
man. Some people get it worse than others, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, how's you get your stuff checked, your blood?
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. I mean, I have to do annuals,
Yeah.
regardless with the VA.
For
So
the
I usually
VA,
do
yeah.
it twice a year. Now, that's something that I need to look into here because it's a little bit different as far as finding blood work, and maybe I don't know the names of some places here. So that was my next thing. So I've gotten my blood work done through the VA, but like
Mhm.
where I've been prior to, you just walk in to a walk-in place, get your blood drawn, pay $250 for
Yeah.
whatever, and get your blood work
labs,
back.
yeah,
So that's
yeah.
kind of what I always did before. And I don't pin my arms anymore. I don't like the tight
In the
feet that
shoulders,
hurt.
you just do glutes.
I do quads and my glutes.
You do quads.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
don't
love
like
my
quads. I don't like
It's-
quads, dude.
It's painless for me.
Well, you
so-
had a bad experience with the
I
quad and the bloodstream.
Oh, geez.
Oh well, that was a friend.
Well, the inside there is an artery.
But- No, but I do it, on the
yeah.
vastus lateralis. But
Yeah.
actually, I had the issue that I had was I was doing Winnie, injectable Winnie,
Yep.
which is like freaking, the
Injecting glass.
white milky stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
And it was
We
a bad
talked about
idea.
glass.
And I
yeah.
was getting it. This was years ago, and I was getting it in my quad, and it kind of like messed my quad up a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
it caused a little bit of scarring,
Scarred, yeah.
and then I lost some of the lines in there.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I was so irritated. I was like, oh my God, like what happened to this quad? And I stopped completely. And it took a long time for it to get better,
Yeah.
but it never went 100% back to the way it was
Yeah.
because I had like a little divot in there,
Yeah.
you get the little
Yeah,
divot
yeah. I can
in
feel
it.
the
Yeah,
sensation
there's a
in my
little
quads.
divot. So, and that's probably could be from like maybe hitting a nerve too and stuff.
Mhm.
Because there's a lot of nerves in your quads.
Yeah.
That's why you got to
Yeah.
really watch
Yep.
how
So
you do it.
you don't do shoulders anymore. So you do glutes. Do you
quads.
bend your glutes or that one inside that the little pocket in your hip, just
Nope.
quads?
Yep,
No.
just quads, and I just do
hip's
my
good.
upper quad,
Yeah.
hip.
quadrant there.
And then I know guys with thicker lats, they'll do lats as well.
Oh,
too.
yeah, I never
I
do
know
that.
that.
Yeah,
That's
I
pretty
know some
sketch.
people. I know the people.
Yeah.
You know, they have different ways to pin, but just like someone's like, I would never do my quads. Like, there's certain things that I was like, I don't know how that would feel.
I know,
Like,
lats
I don't,
feels
I don't
weird.
like it. It gets annoying to me, but
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Yeah. It's part of the sport.
yeah.
I mean,
But the repercussions of it, I always get into the argument of like, yeah, do you drink? Do you smoke? Do you, eat this food, eat that food? There's so many things that we have in our environment that
Oh,
people just like, oh, you do that, this is going to destroy your body. I'm like, okay, well, let's name the 15 things that you do that are also going to destroy your body. It's called comorbidity.
Comorbidities,
So
yep.
it is a thing.
no, it's
so I shut
true.
that down real quick.
Well, yeah, no, you're right. Because I mean, a lot of people who don't even train,
yeah.
who don't do anabolics, obviously, but they go and they eat like crap and
Yep.
they drink alcohol all the
Yep.
time, right?
Yeah.
First you judge,
What do
oh,
you think
you're
all
on
that
And
is
it's
doing to
like,
your
steroids.
no, it's
body?
destroying, right? It's destroying, Well, they're like, but I don't use anabolics.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, well,
Okay.
like,
Good for you. I drink maybe twice a year. So
yeah, see, yeah,
what's
that's
the point? And you drink
Yeah.
every other weekend or every weekend.
or we can.
Yeah. So
I mean,
good
yeah,
for the liver.
I know dudes that are doing like that's crazy. Like there was one guy in here. He used to train here, and I remember this guy. He would be one of those guys. He'd come and go, right? You'd see
Yeah.
him for a while,
Mm.
and he'd be like, I'm gonna drop 20 pounds now. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be back. He didn't compete, but he was that guy that would show up and be like, yeah, I'm good now. I'm good, and it was always because there was something going on in his life,
Yep,
right?
yep.
Some kind of drama,
Yep.
something with the wife. And he'd be good for a while. He'd start coming down, and then he'd vanish.
Yep.
He'd vanish. And then when he would vanish, you're like, oh, okay, he's going to do his thing. And he'd come back and he was like, oh, you gained your 30, 40 pounds back. And this guy, I remember he would come in here sometimes, dude, and he'd be like, oh, man, rough night. And I go, oh, yeah, what happened? He's like, I had a case of beer last night. And I'm like, damn. I was like, wait, how many did you have? He's like, 24.
Jeez.
And I was like, 24 beers in one night. He's like, yeah. And he's in the gym the next day. He was in the gym, and I was
That's
like,
impressive.
dude, I was like, how are you even here?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I'm pretty tired. He was like, oh, I'm pretty tired. I gotta stop drinking, bro. I gotta stop drinking. He was real local, right?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I gotta stop drinking, brother. So I mean, I was like, yeah, maybe cut back something, It's like, wow, this guy. And I was
Yeah,
like, I would
you
just
ain't
sit
gonna
there and go
last
like 24 beers, like. But the impressive part, he would show up the next day to work out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bad,
Yeah.
obviously, because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
destroying yourself.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well, he's been sober now for a while, so
huh?
he's been sober.
Oh,
now
he's
for a
sober
while.
now.
Yeah.
He knows what I'm talking
He's
about.
been sober for a while.
He knows what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. He's like, oh,
He's gonna be sober for a
he's
very long time.
forced to
Yeah,
be
which
sober
is
now.
good.
But
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and my dad, I grew up. He's a cop. He's a retired cop,
Yeah.
detective, and he drinks a lot. And
okay,
but he's not like crazy abusive or anything. But he drinks a lot. I mean, there's nothing to do in Indiana, and I think before I got into doing any type of supplements, I just like him, I was drinking half a handle to Sailor Jerry's,
Oh,
Morgan, or
jeez.
Jack's.
oh wow,
And I got, when I started bodybuilding, because of the length of time that it takes for you to keep everything else clean, if you're doing something, it's kind of like a trade-off.
Mhm.
I don't drink. So it got to the point where, then I was drinking a little bit in the off season, and then I wasn't drinking very much in the off season. And now, I'm so busy with trying to get to work, trying to get my workout in, trying to get my food in.
Mhm.
Like I said, I maybe drink at a social event, maybe. I think the last one we had, I had like a drink. I think I had freaking bourbon.
yeah,
And it's maybe twice a year, and that's
that's
pretty
it.
much
Okay,
Yeah, so
no, that's
but-
good. You balance it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the skin, I like to try and at least look younger than what I am. And that's always the thing I pay attention to with whether you're drinking alcohol out in the sun or smoking or
Mhm.
doing
Oh, yeah.
heat is physical. When I shave my beard, I look a little bit younger, and it helps. I think it helps on stage to look younger. And
you compete shaved. Your beard.
Yeah, I do.
You do.
Yep,
Okay.
I did one show with my beard, and they were like, "Don't do that again."
They didn't like it?
I won. I
Oh.
won the overall, but she was like, "Don't
Men's
do that
physique,
again."
they like the clean
Yeah.
look, right?
It was like a Amish bushy.
Oh,
beard,
you
too.
did
It
one
was-
of those.
Yeah,
No
I
wonder
didn't
why.
realize it was that long until I seen my pictures, and I was like,
Oh, that
what
beard.
the
They
hell
don't
was I
like it
doing?
though, yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, looking back, it's like one of those.
They want clean.
What was I wearing in elementary
Yeah.
school? It was like what?
What's funny is men's physique, they want that clean look, but now since it's classic, they really like that
You can
douchey
have
mustache.
you can have the mustache thing,
Like
right?
that super douchey one,
Yeah,
right?
I would never do that. I'll do it at work just
For fun.
just for fun. But I usually do it for like maybe a week or so. Because when you're shaving, you have a beard. Because when you have a beard for a while and you shave it off, you're like you don't recognize your own face. But it's your time you can play with your facial hair. So I'll do the big, porn stash and
Yeah.
be a
Porn
cornball
stash.
with it for a while. But I would. My dad has one. My dad has always had one. He's a cop. He's always had a mustache. It's just,
Oh, I see.
I
Suits
will
him
never-
with the being a
yeah.
cop.
Yeah, but no, I shave clean.
Yeah, you kind of.
Or I'll have scrub if I don't have a beard.
Yeah, even like the little 5 o'clock shadow is
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
You can get away with
I
that.
don't straight
Yeah.
razor, but
Just as long as it's clean, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, if it's trimmed up, yeah.
So nasty.
Right. Like you just
Oh,
showed
no.
up, didn't shave for 4 days, and you're just like, whatever. It's
yeah,
not trimmed. They might be like,
and it's different looks.
Yeah.
Some people are like, hey, "You look really good with beard." Oh, you look really bad with beard. So
Yeah.
I do both.
I know beards.
On and off.
I think beards are kind of a thing nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think there's a lot more people that are having beards compared to say maybe 20 years ago. Like
Yeah,
the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't think as many people, and then it became more
no,
trendy.
that was
and
the
then-
string beard.
Well, no,
That
I mean,
Sean Connery
it was
thing.
very clean cut, or was the
Yeah.
goatees,
Yeah,
or
the
yeah, it was more.
goatees,
You're right. It
yeah.
was very clean there. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, the little string beard.
Yeah, it wasn't. It
String.
wasn't thick. But you know what's funny is the '70s beards were big.
Yeah.
Like thick beards were
And-
big in the
and
'70s.
chest hair.
Non-groomed
And chest hairs.
beard
And chest hairs.
was the thing
Hasselhoff.
in the 70s,
Hasselhoff.
right?
Hasselhoff.
That's
Yeah.
all, man.
Chest
The
hair.
non-grooved. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, more of just a beard.
And wearing your button shirt and like leaving it.
Oh yeah,
open.
that was a thing. With the
With your
hair
chest
coming
hair.
out. That's
Jed
yeah.
would have blended right in with those
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah, that's funny.
Oh
That was
my
definitely
God.
a look back in the '70s. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go
Yeah.
back. I think the point I was going to make, you were talking about the guy who was drinking and
Mhm.
how he announces everything. One thing that I think that really, and it's just my perception on it. I don't, if I'm doing something, I'm not a video taker. I'm not I wait till next year. I'm going to, be back bigger and better than ever. Or somebody's like, somebody who's just continuously talking or videotaping what they're going to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like I am superstitious, so it's a little bit of karma for me. So I try to keep, if
You
I
just
post
talk
anything,
about it.
yeah, it's for
Mhm.
it's the support. It's either from a coach to support his business, or it's for the gym that I'm training in. It's very rare that I'll put something out there just for myself, and that's what social media is for. I don't really care. But when it comes to what you're going to not do about something, it's not like you're going into an MMA octagon. It's not like you're able to fight somebody and you're gonna know that you're gonna win.
Right. right.
Again, it's subjective, so you just got to be as humble as possible, and whatever happens. But it's just, I'm not one of those.
I was just having this conversation with one other of your members here in this gym just a little bit ago before we started this podcast. How a lot of people, like you said, they feel it's superstitious, right? Not announcing
Yeah.
what you're going to
Mm.
do or your intentions and just show up at the day.
Mhm.
And then there's other people who announce because they want other people to know I'm
Yeah.
entering. You guys want to, meet me on stage if you
Yeah,
think you're
yeah.
better. So he has that
Yeah, I like that
mentality,
too.
which is great as well too. But
Yeah.
there's like how you said, there's the third person who's
Yep.
like, oh, I'm gonna do this thing,
the clout.
and then like last minute they back out, like, oh yeah, it's just
Yeah.
maybe next show, maybe,
Yeah.
and they never end up going on stage or fulfilling the prophecy.
Yeah, or the clout. A lot of
Yeah,
it
clout.
too.
Clout.
You get a less, I think, true perspective as to why somebody's doing something, more so than somebody just wants people to know that they're doing something, and they just want the clout for it, or they want to be a part of what the society is into right now, which is bodybuilding and all that stuff. But they're not. It's like that person that's not actually doing what they need to be doing, but they're talking about it. It's like that person that walks in the gym, takes a picture, does two things, and then leaves, and then posts it. That's annoying.
Yeah, you see that too. Like what's your take on like mindset and stuff? I mean, are you a big believer in like visualization, like with training? Do you meditate? Are you, like, what's that, your whole mental state when it comes to like training and stuff?
Yeah, I would say for training and competing specifically, no, I don't really do. Um, I don't do a whole lot on that end. If I do, I do like meditation and visualization for my personal life,
Okay.
for my personal health. You know, it's kind of like competing is fun and I'm a competitor, so my mindset is always I'm coming to win, but I'm okay if I don't. But I'm coming to win. It's
Yeah.
kind of like a balance of that. It's something that I kind of tell my brother. My brother always tried to take me hunting when I got out of the military, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go." Because I owned a gun, and that was for work when I contracted. But he has got a whole arsenal, and he's like,
Oh,
let's
jeez.
go deer hunting." And there's nothing wrong with hunting, but it just wasn't for me. I was like,
Okay.
there's nothing exciting to me about going deer hunting after being in the Marine Corps for 4 years, 2 deployments, and then
Mm,
going through contracting for 6 years.
yeah.
I don't get a whole lot of pleasure watching a deer and shooting it that's not doing anything back, or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not
I get
exciting
it.
for me.
I get it.
And
Yeah.
he doesn't understand that. But competing is fun, but when you are like swimming, it's one on one. You get to decide the outcome. Football's a team sport, but you still there's more physicality, I think, for that, or any other one on one sport there is, boxing, tennis,
Mhm.
whatever. I think when you are competing against an individual and you know that you have to do certain things to beat that person, visualization and meditation, I think, is very important. Um, I'm just and maybe it's different for actual bodybuilder because you do the entire routine. It's exhausting. I did classic physique my very first competition because I was just trying everything. It's exhausting. So
Mhm.
doing your poses and making sure everything is aligned with your music and visualization, I think, for that is pretty good. I do
Yeah.
men's physique. I get on, I do a pose, I turn around and do a pose, and I'm done. It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of awareness, and conditioning. As long as you're conditioned and you show up with a good physique, just
Mhm.
fucking pose. But I
Yeah.
think visualization for bodybuilders is a little bit different in classic physique,
Yeah.
or all female, I think all female categories, because that's very exhausting as well.
Mm.
Even I would say even bikini, for the most part, but at least the feet.
The feet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, man. No, that's cool. I mean, everybody has their own things,
yeah.
and it does. I mean, I think sometimes it can help. Like if you get in a certain mind frame before training and stuff, it can help break
Yep.
certain barriers.
Absolutely.
You can get through to
Yeah.
get certain goals, attain certain goals by having a certain mindset, right?
hmm
Pushing yourself beyond what you
Yeah.
normally would, maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm a music
Right.
person. If my music is not aligned with my feelings on that day, I'll be between yoga workout station music to country to rock
I
to
see.
hip hop.
Uh-huh.
However, if I'm depressed that day or if I'm high energy or if I'm fucking tired, I need I need that motivation for myself. Because I work 10, 11, 12 hours a day, and then
Mm.
I work out for 2 hours. I do a training and I do cardio, and then sometimes I got to pose. So I don't get home till 9:30 at night. I'm in bed by 12. I'm up at 4:35.
Shit.
So I'm fucking
Oh,
tired.
dude. Do you only get like
And
4.5, 5 hours a night?
yeah,
Average,
the
maybe.
other trouble sleeping and all that stuff.
Oh,
But
I
at the
see.
end of the
Yeah.
day, I try to get 5 hours of sleep. But
Mm.
but at the end of a long week, you're tired. It's not like I just do this for a profession like some people do,
Yeah.
which is fine. But I need that, and it goes along with, I guess, visualization and the mental capacity is I need that. If I don't have the right, like yesterday, I was like, I'm fucking tired last night. I came in for one lift and I left. I will not come in and I'm not going to push myself to do a half-ass workout. It's a waste of my time. I would rather utilize my time, go rest, be ready for the next day, and give it everything that I am purposely here for the next day. I'm not just going to
Oh, so
go through the
you'll
motions.
actually come in and leave
I will not go through the
if you're not
motions.
there.
Nope. I
Oh,
stopped doing
okay.
that a long time ago because I know and again, a big advocate of you're tired when you get to the gym, just start working out, your endorphins going and you feel better.
Mm.
Absolutely. And 90% of the time that is the case. But
Mm.
when you listen to your body and you just know that you are tired, I rest.
Yeah,
And I'll come
that's
back the
good.
next day.
I'm glad you touched based on that because a lot of the people we talked about before, like the whole team no sleep, 7 days a week. That's not for everybody,
Mhm.
and you really do. Especially we're a little bit older, having to listen to your body, get the good
Yeah.
recovery, so you can come back the next day and basically kick ass in the gym all over
Yeah.
again. You know.
Yeah.
So, do you do anything else besides rest? Do you incorporate massage,
Mm.
acupuncture, anything?
Yeah, I've been able to do acupuncture this last entire year at the VA actually, because
Oh, wow.
I get a lot of work on my lower back through the VA, and I've been fortunate that my healthcare is free due to my service and my percentage and all that stuff. So I get a lot of like I have an H-way, which is it's like a 10 stem unit that I can
Oh.
use for shoulders, my back, because I've had 2 shoulder surgeries, just scopes and my lower back, so that helps a lot. But they offered here when I got here, which I haven't had anywhere else, was acupuncture, and that was during my prep, so that was pretty nice. And she also did cupping for not necessarily muscle recovery, but just for my back recovery. I prefer scraping if I'm doing any type of deep tissue muscle recovery or anything, or massages.
Yeah.
But it's hard if you're again new location, or it's hard to find somebody who's good at doing that. So it's again that goes back to references and connections, and then trying to find the time to get it done. It's just applying yourself like anything else.
Yeah, I've always been bad at that. I was always bad
Yeah.
at the massages and
I
all
don't
that.
even roll.
Man, I would go
Lazy.
months and months and be like, "Oh, I should get a massage." You know, like I'm walking around like my neck's been hurting for 2 months, and I'm like, maybe I should get a massage.
Yeah,
And then
maybe.
I'll go get it, and I'll be like, should have done that 2 months ago.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. Thinking about it, I'm just like,
Yeah.
just go, just keep going. Let me stretch it. Let's just keep training.
Mhm.
That's kind of my whole mindset when I was
Yeah.
training. So yeah,
And the stretching and the rolling, I think it's important. I just
yeah,
again,
you don't do it enough.
no, man, it just was never
Yeah.
something that I did growing up in sports.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I get my abs. I mean, look, if I get to my abs before I do cardio, and then after that I'm done. I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I'm tired, so I don't have time. And I applaud those who take time, go and they roll, they stretch before they start, or they roll and stretch
Yeah.
after they're done. It's important for muscle recovery, absolutely, but you have to apply it.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
no. Yeah, I think it all goes and all of it, you can utilize all of it. I think it
Yeah.
helps, for sure.
I don't. What do you think about the cold plunges?
He went to a cold plunge with the Wim Hof thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty. I like it, but not after a workout. I just do it from more of the spiritual perspective. I don't do
You
it
did a
because like,
lot.
oh, like whatever it is. I worked out hard. I need to go. No, not anything like that. I do it
Yeah.
more for the mind over matter.
Mhm.
I think it's all right. I wouldn't because it defeats the purpose of coming into the gym. Getting your hypertrophy
Yep.
training on and then going into a cold
Yep,
plunge
yep, yep.
completely.
New
Well,
studies
that's what they
show.
say. Yeah.
Studies show 'cause it
It's
was such a
good
big
for
bang.
athletic performance,
Yeah.
right?
Fast
But
twitch.
not so
Fast
much
twitch.
fast twitch, but not so much for bodybuilding,
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
So
But nobody knew that. Everybody was like, "Oh,
Everybody was
cold
like, jump
plunge."
in the
For a
cold
long time
plunge.
because
Yeah.
Steve did it. And
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not-
yeah. And you were doing it too, yeah? Yeah.
and that's fine. But
But he likes it.
just like anything, we all think that something is good for us, and then we find out 10 years later it's like,
One thing I still
Wasn't as
actually
good.
really do like is sauna, infrared saunas and stuff. Like I would do that.
What about
Yeah.
the red light theory stuff?
I'm
Or the
not.
red
I
light
don't wear a
the red light
mask thing or
panels.
have that.
Well, the red
light.
light panels, yeah, yeah. You like that stuff? No?
I didn't get into it because I'm just fucking cheap. I'm
Well,
That's
like-
that was a tough one because that one you don't.
might as well buy your own.
Yeah, I mean that one because I
Right.
actually got one of those panels years ago and I was doing it.
Oh, panel
But that's
panels.
it's a panel with the
Yeah,
lights.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's
Or
pretty long.
whatever,
It was like
yeah.
4 feet long, but that's a tough one because you don't necessarily feel it. I remember though, like I would get kind of warm. Then after when I was done, it would be like 15 minutes or whatever. It was short, and then sometimes I would feel like I have this energy. It was kind of interesting. I was like, well, I don't know, I got some energy. Interesting, almost like I took a nap. That type of energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because I was standing there, it was maybe it could have just been because I was standing there. I had to stand there and keep my eyes closed and
Kinda
just relax.
meditating a
So
little
maybe
bit.
it was I was getting a 15-minute mental break, and then maybe that's what it was. I don't know. It's hard to tell, right? Because I mean, just like this light's hitting you. What is it?
Yeah. Were you
Is it
seated
really
or
working?
standing or?
I'm standing. I'm standing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then in the light, I usually put it like right here in front of my face, and it comes down to usually right below the waistline. Yeah.
Right.
Because they even say that for men, it can help raise like test
Yeah,
levels.
Your
that's
So,
where the
liver
energy
and all
needs to
of
go.
that.
not that I need that because I do TRT anyway. But I'm like, hey, why not? Whatever. Let's check it out.
Yeah, if it does, sure.
But
It's a bonus.
yeah, it isn't. I don't know. I still have it. I mean, I haven't used it for a while, but
Because they got those red light saunas. That's
Yeah.
what I thought.
oh yeah,
you
they
were
got the
talking- that's what I
saunas.
thought you were
Well, they got
talking
red
about.
light saunas,
Yeah,
and then they have
the
the red
infrared,
light,
yeah.
where you stand in front of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The red light. I never
Yeah,
got
the
into
red
like you're
light.
talking
Yeah.
about, but the
And then the
infrared
saunas, infrared
yeah.
saunas, right?
If you could find them on this island, that's awesome. It's usually in
Because
your
is that
friend's
better?
home or whatever.
Is that better than just a steam sauna?
Yes,
Is
it
it?
penetrates faster. And
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
See, I
it's a
never.
little bit better.
I've always used steam saunas,
Oh, I
but
use both. I'm an Elks Club member. I could
well,
go in both.
there you go.
Yeah, there's I don't know, I think he's a doctor. He reached out to me. They do a lot of group. They have the cold plunge. They got I don't know if you ever sat in one of those pods. So
Oh,
they
yeah,
got the
I did.
electric
Oh, I've done
pods.
that.
Yeah, and then you can go. It's a 2-person infrared sauna. You can lay in. That's like a whole works. It's not far from here, but I can't remember the name of it. It's on my Instagram.
Yeah, the what do you call that? What is that pod called, Jed?
The float tank.
Yeah,
The float tank, yeah.
Yeah, I've
I
done
did.
that.
The
Yeah, you did it
gravity
too.
tank.
I
Do
did
it.
that.
Do it on like half a gram of shrooms.
Yeah, that's what I want to do, but I
would
need to
have
find
to.
me a driver
Yeah.
first.
I'm claustrophobic, so I would have to.
Dude, yeah, I got a little bit claustrophobic, and it was weird because I went under the water. You put your ears under the water,
Yeah.
and it's pitch black.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there, and I remember closing my like you can't see either way. Your eyes are open, closed, you just start. And I was sitting there, and now so imagine you get the water over your ears, so
Yeah.
you're hearing. I got like
Yeah.
tinnitus and stuff,
Yeah.
so the ringing, and I'm just like, okay, this sucks. But I'm trying to like block it out, and I think I was good for like 15 minutes about or so. I was like trying to go, and then I remember just kind of, when you start feeling a little bit hot, like you start feeling warm,
Yeah.
and it wasn't really supposed to be warm, and I don't think it was, but I started feeling a little warm, and I started feeling like, oh, and I was like, okay, where's the door?
Where's
And
the
I
door?
started kind of being like, so I remember I got up and I said, okay, and I opened the door a little bit, and then the air came in, and I was like, oh, I felt better. I was like, oh, and then there was a little bit of light.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I was like, I'm not gonna, it was an hour. So I was like, I'm not gonna get out of this thing. This is the first time I ever did it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna sit in here, but I think I gotta adjust. And so I left the door cracked slightly,
Oh, yeah.
just slightly.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got that air, and then I went back down, and then I was able to kind of do it. And it was interesting. Like it was, man, like when they say you hear a lot of noise and stuff, like I heard a lot of noise at first because my brain was kind of, and then it was like towards the end there, it was calm. Like everything was just kind of calm. And I was like, okay. And I was just like, wow, that's interesting. There's something going on that made me want to like have to get up and open that door and these insecurities, right? And I was like, man, okay, it'd be cool to do it next time and maybe just try and get through the whole thing,
Yeah.
You ever had any remote viewing experiences in there, or like where you've seen other places or stuff like that?
The CIA stuff.
The what?
Like when you're
Remote
in one, have
viewing.
you ever like seen other stuff? Like I've literally been in them and relaxed enough to where I've seen look like I'm flying through space. And I've seen other places.
No, I've never even been in a pod.
Oh,
never
yeah,
been-
no.
no.
Well, he was on shrooms too, so.
Yeah.
I've been like that with and without though.
Oh, you have?
I've done it both
Yeah.
times.
Oh, I was
No,
like,
I've never been in
he's
one.
an attorney. Yeah,
Like I get in there, get really relaxed. I can see some shit.
You
It's
start-
pretty,
yeah.
it's pretty interesting.
it's interesting.
I don't know how. I mean, an hour. I struggle. I don't know if it's ADHD or I cannot be in one place without being active. Like I'm always having to move.
But I know, but that's why this thing
That's
is good
tough.
for you.
Yeah.
No, but that's why because like for me, like I said, initially, yeah, it shuts you down, and then there's a lot going on in your head, and then once you can calm it down, and then you're just there, and then you're like, oh, and then you realize you're like, man, I don't have as much control of my mental state as I thought I did. You know what I mean? Because you're so distracted in life, and you're so busy with so much going on, and you're always doing the next task, that you're not able to just kind of turn everything off and just be like, okay,
in the
let me
moment.
feel everything. Let me control my body, my mind.
Yeah.
We're usually just like avoiding it.
Yeah.
We're busy doing other things, right?
Mm-mm.
And it's kind of interesting, dude. Like I said, like it made me sit up and be like, oh, I was like, whoa, this is a lot for me. Then I had to go back, and do it again. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. But there was a lot of noise, dude. When I say there's noise, it's weird. Like it's literally like
You heard them say,
there's
Mark,
noises in
3
my head.
cc's a
But
trend.
it wasn't even clear. It wasn't even dude,
Oh,
do
yeah.
10 cc's. Take trend. No, it was
10
like,
units
I
of
know.
GH.
They were coming back to me. They were haunting me. They're like, get back on trend.
I know it was in the
I know.
bread.
No, yeah, this is from the other podcast. But no, dude, like it was like I don't know. I can't even explain because it wasn't like I could understand what these noises were.
Yeah.
It was just like a lot of like you hear things going on. You're just like, okay, like what is this? What is going on in my head, right? Because everything is calm now. My body, I can't get that energy out, right? I can't see anything.
Yep.
I'm not distracting myself. So now my brain is just like, yo, like I feel like it's just like wanting to do something and I can't. And then, like I said, once that thing calms down though, it's interesting. You're just like, I was like, whoa, like that took a while.
Yeah.
And I was like,
How'd you feel when
okay.
you got out?
Um,
How's your recovery?
well, I mean, I felt relaxed, but I also felt a little like flustered.
Yeah.
Because of the claustrophobic stuff a little
Yeah.
bit. Like it was kind of affecting me even when I got out. I was like, man, I was like kind of bothered, because I was like, oh, dude, I can't. Wow, like that's to me, that's like a weakness to me,
Right.
I was like, wow, I don't have control of that. Like
Mhm.
I couldn't just lay there. Nothing was happening. I was fine. I was completely safe. But I started, thinking of things. I was trying to clear my mind, and I started going there, and then I started getting warm,
Mm.
which I probably wasn't even getting warm. I probably was just feeling that I was because
Yeah.
I was probably getting
Anxious.
nervous and anxious.
Yeah.
And then I needed to open the door,
Yeah.
and that was just, and I was like, man, like, wow, that's crazy. Like I couldn't stop that,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's where I was like, man, I really, that's something that I really want to, conquer,
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I just know that I was curious about how you felt when you got out, just because like when you do acupuncture,
Yeah.
there's for anybody who hasn't done it, after a few weeks, a few sessions of doing it, even in the first couple, there's an after feeling that
Mhm.
she was recommending me not to drive. Obviously, I had to go back to work, but it's this kind of like a
I know that.
lull.
I know that
just-
feeling. Yeah, I know
You
that
just feel
feeling.
like drowsy and
Yeah.
drug, but
Yeah.
it lasts for about 20 minutes. But MRIs, like I can't. I have to do open MRIs. I can't.
Oh,
Cannot
the
be in an
MRI
MRI
thing,
machine.
you
Hell
have
no.
an issue with
Nope.
that?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
really?
did. I did tried to do both my shoulders, and
Oh, yeah.
I let them. Even on medication, I went back in, and just like you were saying in your mind, like you're fine, and I can see the opening, I can see my feet, but soon as and some of the the MRI machines at the VA, I mean, I'm not a small dude, so like I'm going there. As soon as my shoulders hit the side, I'm like, beep, boop, boop, get me the fuck out, and I'd be like crawling back
Try
out.
going blindfolded.
Yep,
That-
they
that helps
blindfolded me. It was because as soon as the sides hit my shoulder,
Oh,
I
you're
knew where I
getting
was.
squished.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
you're
I'm
getting
like,
squished.
get me
Yeah.
out of here. And I don't know. That just started over the last like few years. But
You know
Even on
what I did? So this was a while back when I did that tank thing, and then I got into, and I think I was training jujitsu already,
yeah,
but jujitsu, man, is a good one because wearing the gi too.
Yeah.
So you're on the gi. You're kind of. I mean, that thing is pretty heavy. It's kind of restrictive, so you have it on you,
yeah,
and then your heart rate's going up, right? You're rolling. You're getting tired now. It's not so bad if you're not tired, but if you're going, you're going. A few minutes into it, you're tired. You're breathing pretty hard. Heart rate's up about 130 or so. Then say you're on the bottom, the guy is on top of you. He's putting pressure on you.
Yeah.
So now he's got pressure on your chest. Your breathing kind of gets a little bit shallow. You got this gi on you
Mhm.
that you feel restricted, and he's got his gi. He's kind of over your face.
Yeah.
That right there, man, like that was kind of cool for me because I remember being like, that could be like a freak out moment,
Yeah,
and guys
sure.
would like tap, like,
Yeah.
whoa, but you don't. But the thing is, you don't tap to that. You
Yeah.
never tap to that. So you have to suck it up.
Yeah.
So I remember there's many times where I was like, man, I was like kind of freaked out in my
Yeah.
head, but I had to like calm down and like breathe, calm down, and then maybe turn a little bit and get, okay, I'm okay, and I had to talk myself through, and the guy is just up there doing his thing,
Yeah.
And
You know what's going on.
no, he doesn't even know. Well, if he sees you freak out,
Right.
then he's like, oh, I got him, So you don't want to show that, right?
Yeah.
So you're just kind of like, no, I'm good, like that. But you're really in my mind, I'm going, dude, get the fuck off me.
Duck on the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, so it was very helpful. like doing that, that was another thing that would help with that. Jiu-jitsu would help with me overcoming that, you know.
Yeah, I can see that being smothered.
Yeah, being oh no, yeah, it's a weird it's weird. But then what if you can just accept it and you're okay, then it's not you're not even it's like it's okay. Like you're not I mean, you're not gonna die. I mean, really, I mean at worst you might pass out, right? You might pass out and the guy might go, oh, he passed out, and then you'll get up 15 seconds later, like, and you're like, what happened? You
Did
know?
I win, coach?
Yeah, did I win? You're like, hey. You're like, no, dude, no, you just passed out, bro. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, but I think it's interesting how our brains,
Yeah.
there's that primal trigger in there that's like, survive, survive,
Yeah.
survive. And it's a panic switch, right?
Yep.
You know, and I think that's the thing you work years and years to try to like control that switch.
Yeah.
Don't
You
hit
either
that switch.
control it or you suppress it so bad
Mhm.
you don't deal with your inner demons. So that's good that you bring up all
That's a
of these
big one.
subjects because
Yeah.
they come at your most vulnerable times, whether it be dieting for
There
bodybuilding
you go.
or going into a tank,
Oh yeah.
doing jujitsu, life pressure, shit happens at home, you know?
Well, that talking about the dieting, and I would do this sometimes. You're about 2 weeks out from your show, maybe, and you start. Oh, I don't think I look good enough. Oh, I don't think I'll be ready.
Yeah.
And then you start tricking yourself because you're tired, right? You're hungry. You want to eat. And you're just like, man, I'm just over it. Like I'm
Yeah.
over it. But you're almost there, right?
Yeah.
So you trick yourself into being like, I don't think I'm gonna be ready. And then what do? You go and you do a cheat. You go and have some food.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Because
Comfort.
right, because you tricked yourself
Same thing.
into saying this is you know what? I don't even know if I'm gonna be ready anyway. I eat it. And then of course when you eat
Then
it,
you feel like
right?
shit.
Later that evening you're like, I'm gonna do the show still.
Yeah.
And you're like, shit. And then you realize it had nothing to do with anything. You
Yeah.
just were so hungry. You wanted to eat the food, and then it made you, okay, well, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Let me get back on this prep, you know?
Yeah.
And then of course the last 2 weeks, the whole time you're thinking, fucking ate that damn sandwich or whatever.
Yeah.
You're like, the damn sandwich. Shit. Could that mess me? Am I gonna get second place because of that freaking sandwich? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You start thinking stupid shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, but I've done that. It's interesting how the mind literally tricks you to do something,
Yeah.
even though there's no reason to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now, I
it's-
guess going back to what you were saying about mindset during prep. So we were talking about lifting and mindset. And
Yeah.
stuff. I would say during prep, when you're vulnerable, when you're tired and all that. I think for me, the visualization and the meditation, all that stuff during prep for sure. For me, that's the biggest.
Yeah.
Advocate for my success, I think. But
Yeah.
and going back to the cheat meals,
Well,
the reason I don't like cheat meals is because it's not that I don't have discipline, but it's like tasting blood. Once you have a little bit of that donut, then you just can't.
It's
like,
hard,
It's
man.
eating. You can't stop.
it's
And that's
hard,
happened to me a
yeah.
couple times. I eat like 15 donuts, and then I'm just like, fuck. Then you get a sugar rush.
I know it's crazy. Like it's like a switch and you just
Yeah.
can't turn it off. You're like, I can't stop. I can't stop.
Yeah.
And then you start, I mean, I know I'd be like,
Crazy.
well, I already had 3 of these things. Let me just have another 3. Doesn't matter now, you know?
Screw up,
Just
I'm
like
gonna
the
screw up right
sharks
now.
bite, their eyes flip.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
just keep eating the
Yeah.
donuts.
You just like, and then
Taste
you're
the
just like,
bite,
what
you
am I
got that
doing?
lockjaw.
Like I gotta get rid of this. It's interesting how your brain does that, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
It is.
god.
Yeah. So, and I'm sure most people have experienced it, but that's why I think too, I used to never really do cheat meals when I used to prep back in the day. I would do like maybe on a Sunday, I would have like maybe like a little like yogurt or something, like
Yeah.
something sweet. But, now I feel like they're definitely useful. There's definitely a place for it. And I think it can keep people on track longer, and it maybe make the prep a little, a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
I think obviously like, hey, if you're a top pro, you're making money, you're at that level. I mean, okay, like whatever, dude, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Like it's,
Yeah.
if it requires you to not have cheat meals, then don't have cheat meals.
Yeah.
But when you're at the lower level or maybe like the national level,
Mhm.
even, I think, yeah, you can do these things and you can get away with it and it's fine depending on what condition you're in
Yeah.
at the time, right?
Yeah.
And you know your body too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you can,
Absolutely.
if you can manage it, like, okay, I'm just gonna have this today.
Yep.
And then that's good. And then kind of, okay, my mental state's a little better now. I'm not tripping anymore.
Yeah.
Let's get back to it,
Yeah.
So
and I've seen different avenues to that. Is some people that they'll do the weekly cheat meal. So like with my clients, I do cheat meal, free meal, and flex meal. So
yeah,
a cheat meal, obviously, you eat whatever the hell you want. Refeed your
Yeah.
sushi, burger, fries, whatever you want to put in there. And then flex meal is kind of like a combination. You're just keeping it clean, but you're substituting a couple things. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I've seen some, some coaches that, they put in that 1 day a week, whether it's a Wednesday or Saturday, and they're doing, their big lift the next day or the day.
Oh, I see.
But they'll do that all the way up to a certain point in
Yeah.
the prep,
Yeah.
and then they'll pull them off of it. And then I've seen some that you show me you can get to from point A to point B, and then we'll put it in for a few weeks to kind of get your mental psyche back to baseline, and then they'll pull it off again. So it's just for me personally, I just prefer not to have it because I don't feel that I will have the discipline to stop if I continue to do it. So
I see.
I just prefer not to have it, and I don't got to worry about it.
Yep.
But it's not
Sometimes
bad.
that's easier, man. Sometimes that's easier. Yep.
Like
So-
how Jed was saying, you diet down for say 10 weeks and they want the burger and fries.
Oh yeah.
No, you
But
can
like,
wait
why?
a couple more hours
I know.
till the show's over to have
Yeah.
that burger and
Well,
fries.
I think we had talked about this before too. Because I prep people for shows here and there, and then
Mhm.
it's the ones they're in it, say the first month, and then they're already like, hey, when are we gonna have a cheat meal?
The 1 month motivator.
The one, yeah, like
I'm
when
ready
are we
for
having
the
a cheat
show.
meal? When do we have to be like?
When you deserve
You've been
it,
doing like
when you
4
earn
weeks of
it.
dieting or 3 weeks of dieting. When are we having that? When are we having a cheat meal? And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, like, why are you competing, dude? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, if they're out of shape before they
Yeah.
start for me, I just
Oh,
tell them straight
yeah.
up, like you're not
You're
getting a cheat
not
meal,
getting one at all.
unless you have some sort of miraculous change. You have way too much fat on your body. You just do.
Yeah.
But I have a couple of them. They come in, they're pretty dialed in, so they have high metabolism. So I'll be like, yeah, go ahead. Have
Yeah.
it just makes sense for you.
Yeah.
But I don't do. I know that was real big when I started too. It was like even people who really. There's a purpose to have that burger and fries between the morning show and the evening show. Like that was a big thing where everybody had to go have a burger and fries between shows, but but why? You don't look like you need to have a burger and fries, whichever reason.
Well, yeah,
may be.
because we did an episode on this.
And I never have. I don't do it personally. I stay full with my regular meals, my fish or my rice or whatever, and I'm eating on that. But I'll do the burger and fries the night before, whatever's on the plan, however I look. But that was a big thing that I didn't really understand. I don't know if that's you guys' experience with clients or seeing.
Yeah, I mean, no, we know coaches that just do it just because. I
Yeah.
think it's kind of like they're like rewarding the client, maybe like, hey, here, go have your burger and fries.
Yeah. Or if they don't place well in between shows. it's
Oh
like,
yeah,
go
well,
ahead, go
yeah.
ahead,
If they
have
get
your
second call outs, second call, third call outs, you're like, yeah, go ahead and have burger and fries, and
Sure, pictures. We do
you want to
it.
have that banana split too? Why not? Are you thirsty? Yeah, you can drink a Gatorade or two. It's like, Bobby, don't come back tonight though. You're not gonna look good. No.
The blown out gut.
Yeah, you're gonna be. Yeah. So it's interesting, but anyway, you got anything, Jed?
I'm good.
No.
Any last words or anything you would like to share with the people who possibly could be watching as far as getting themselves into bodybuilding, a show, contest prep, or getting themselves attached to a coach that you want to send off?
Yeah. So through my experience, I would always not just go with what's popular. That's just my advice. And do your research like you do anything else. You're not just following something blindly off of Instagram or YouTube, whatever. Do your own research. Coaches you do research on coaches as well. What type of clients do they specialize in? How do their clients place? Have a conversation with them. If they're too busy to have a conversation with you, they're probably not for you because they're not going to give you enough time. Just ensure that you're going to, especially if you're a new competitor, make sure you're going to get the attention that you are going to deserve. So you have a good experience. As you get more seasoned, then at that point, you go with who you feel is going to push you in the right direction. But you need to get your feet wet first. But it helps when you have a good coach pays attention to you and has time for you. So that'd be my advice in regards to trying to find a coach.
Yeah, that's good, man. It's
Good take on it. Very good. Well, thanks for coming out
I
and
appreciate it. It's been a
Thanks,
pleasure.
taking some
Yeah,
time out of
absolutely.
your day.
It's been an honor, and thank you all for your service. And
Yeah. Oh yeah, everybody. All of us. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for this episode of Paradise Pump, and we'll see you next time. Aloha.
all right, so today I'm going to do some reverse hypers. Now this is most commonly used for your glutes, your gluteus maximus. However, I use this for my lower back. I have a lower back injury, and this has been a key component for me to strengthen my lower back.
So I do a mind-muscle connection, and I really focus on my lower back when I'm doing this exercise, and I will do this probably 2, 3, 4 times a week. Plus, the older I get, the lower part of my fat in my back takes forever to get off too. But when I'm positioning myself, I make sure my hips are up a little bit higher. That way, I'm not hitting my glutes, but I can get that full range. And then I stop as soon as I feel it in my lower back, and then I go back down, get that full range. But I'm ensuring that I'm hitting my lower back. So. And when I'm doing it, if it has a foot hook at the bottom, some of these have pads and some of them have foot hooks like you see here. I'll ensure that my legs are spread out as far as possible because I like to keep my legs wide when I'm doing these. And I don't feel it at all in my glutes. This is 100% my lower back. Now I'll hit maybe 4 sets of 10, 4 sets of 12, 4 sets of 15, just depending.